What's going on? I'm about fell over. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel if you're new here. Today we're going to get into some Q&A. I normally haven't done something like this before, but I just want to do a Q&A video where basically I put on my Instagram, hey, I'm doing a Q&A vlog, throw me some questions. And that way I could come on here and find a handful of some really good ones and talk to you guys about it and solve some problems. So if you don't already follow me over on Instagram, be sure to do that. At Real Jared Hamilton, wherever it's at in this video. What we're gonna do is get into some, like I said, some of these Q&As, so let's get into them. What is having too many carbs? I tend to gain weight the following day. Should I eat less? Carbs retain water, will make you retain water, like to an extent. But the thing is, that's not fat. That's why you don't wanna worry about that. Of course, you're gonna retain a little bit of water if you have a high carb or a high salt meal, but you have to understand that those day-to-day fluctuations are gonna happen. You can't just get rid of carbs for the sake of gaining some water weight. So understand that, especially if your goal is fat loss, there is no too many carbs if you're in a calorie deficit. Because at the end of the day, carbs aren't what store fat. Eating too many calories is what causes you to store fat. So if you've noticed that you're gaining weight, the next day or so after eating carbs, I would still look at your weight averages over the course of weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. So don't just weigh yourself the next day and be like, oh my gosh, I gained weight. What your day-to-day looks like in terms of weekly averages. So Monday, what do you weigh? Tuesday, what do you weigh? Wednesday, what do you weigh? Thursday, what do you weigh? Friday, what do you weigh? Saturday, what do you weigh? Sunday, what do you weigh? That will give you a weekly average. Then watch that trend week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5 weekly averages, and then see about it. Just because you're gaining weight overnight from carbs doesn't mean anything, because we need carbs. Carbs are good for us. Carbs help with performance. Carbs help us have a real life with all this whole fitness and fat loss game. So if your calories are in check, which is what's most important, there is no having too many carbs. What do you think about fasting? Here's the thing. Fasting can be a tool like any other tool in the tool belt. But understand that fasting is not magical. Fasting doesn't allow you to burn more fat, doesn't do any of that stuff. But it can be a tool by all means. Like for example, today it is 2 o'clock. I have not eaten yet today because right now I'm in a fat loss phase still. My calories are a little bit on the lower side, and I know I'm gonna wanna have a lot of calories later. So a lot of times I don't eat for the first part of the day. Like I don't necessarily have breakfast just because I'm not hungry. For me personally, I wake up, I have some caffeine, and then my appetite's a little bit curbed. So like I haven't eaten yet today. That's the thing is, so in terms like that, fasting can be used as a tool, just like a hammer or a screwdriver or screw gun or a screwdriver or a chainsaw or whatever. Everything is a tool, it has its place, but you have to use the right tool for the right job. I'm not going to try to pour concrete with a screwdriver. That doesn't make any sense. You have to understand when to use it, when not to use it, but it's not magical. Like a lot of people will be like, what do you think about keto? What do you think about fasting? What do you think about paleo? What do you think about Weight Watchers? But like, I'm not saying you have to marry something like that. I know a lot of people that hate fasting. I go through periods of time where I hate fasting, where I just want to eat all the time. So a lot of it just depends, but there's nothing magical about it. It doesn't allow you to burn more calories or burn more fat or anything like that. It's just a preference thing. So if going through periods of fasting helps your adherence and helps your results and happiness with all of this, then go for it. But keep in mind, we're talking about, like in this context, I'm talking about little tiny bouts of not eating, not like 24-hour, 48-hour, 36-hour fasts. If that's the case, you should probably talk to your doctor to make sure you're okay with that. But there's nothing magical about it. Most people who ask me about fasting are thinking there's like some secret magic behind it to let you burn more fat, but it doesn't work like that. It's just a preference schedule. This is a good one. Will my maintenance calories change after dieting and losing some weight? That's a really good question. So understand this, your body is an adaptation machine. It will adapt to everything you do over time, which means as you diet and whatnot, your maintenance calories may lower to an extent. But now this question is very person to person. There's a lot of variables that come into it, like, well, how long have you been dieting? How long have you been consistent? How long have you been doing this? Have you been incorporating refeeds? Have you been incorporating diet breaks and all sorts of stuff like that? So there's a lot of factors that go into this, but understand over time, your maintenance calories might drop a little bit. That is one of my favorite reasons to incorporate diet breaks and refeeds and things like that. Whereas, over time, if you're eating less than what you're burning and then your maintenance calories starts to lower, that's why periodically it's okay to come out of your deficit and eat maintenance for a little while. I'm not saying binge, I'm not saying cheat day, I'm not saying, say, diet break and you go up here. I'm saying if you've been dieting for a while, don't be afraid if like an event comes up, you want to go out with a spouse or the partner, or you want to go do something, don't be afraid to eat your maintenance, because that's what it is, it's maintenance, and keep throwing that back in there, because it's going to help from a metabolism standpoint, it's going to help a sustainability and adherence standpoint, and it's going to help arguably keep your maintenance calories a little bit higher, versus if you just eat in a deficit and never come out of it, your maintenance will slowly adapt. But keep in mind this is one of the ways it's contextual. Let's say you weighed 300 pounds. Okay, let's say you ate, just throwing numbers out there, let's say you ate 4,000 calories a day. Now you weigh 300 pounds. And then over time, you, let's say, now weigh 200 pounds. Okay, your maintenance is no longer what it was at 300 pounds. Does that make sense? So that's why when it comes to this, it's super contextual, whether you have 100 pounds to lose, whether you just want to drop a couple pounds, and a lot of it depends on that. Next, will adding weightlifting to my calorie deficit change my goal weight? So here's the thing that you guys have to understand. Get away from the concept of a goal weight, okay? Because there's a lot of variables that affect what your final weight will be. All right, even if your goal is weight loss, there's a lot that affects the outcome, so to speak. Because a lot of people have this preconceived notion of like, oh, I want to weigh 150 pounds. But then like they may have actually reached the aesthetics, what they want to look like at 170 pounds. Or they may get to 150 pounds and be like, oh wow, I need to lose a little bit more. So here's the thing I want you to do. Tracking your weight is a great tool, like I mentioned before, to monitor progress. But too many people let the goal weight define them and define a lot. Whereas if like, oh, I don't meet the goal weight, or if I'm heavier, if I'm lighter, and it causes a lot of issues. Versus that goal weight represents something, right? So if you say, no, my goal weight is to weigh 150 pounds. Well, like my question is why? Is it because there's your favorite shirt that you can fit in? Is it because you think you'll be able to go run on a beach and play beach volleyball and feel really good and jumping up and down? What is it? Because a lot of times we pick these goal weights, like to weigh 150 pounds, 170 pounds, 120 pounds, whatever, because of what it represents. So I would transition that goal from saying, oh, here's my goal weight, and make the goal like what that actually is, like fit in size X jeans, or wear a medium shirt, or be able to go on vacation this summer and play beach volleyball without being self-conscious, that kind of thing. Does that make sense? Is keto a good diet option to lose 110 pounds? Okay, this is a really good question. In my opinion, no. Here's why. I don't care how much weight you have to lose, whether you have over 100 pounds to lose or you have 10 pounds to lose, it doesn't matter. Principles are principles. So if what you're doing, you could not sustain it after you lose the weight, don't do it. It's like a job, guys. Here's the thing, like in talking about careers, more than likely, whatever your job is or what the career you're looking for, you're going to have it most of your life. You're going to try to progress through it. And there's a lot of ways to make money, whether you want to be an accountant, whether you want to be a personal trainer, whether you want to be a dog trainer, whether you want to, own Walmart. There's a million ways to make money. But it's going to be more conducive to pick something that will make you the money you want to make, but also that you enjoy doing, because you're going to be doing it your whole life, right? Otherwise, you're going to bounce from job to job to job to job to job to job. Same thing with losing weight. There are a million ways to lose weight. Literally, that's why every diet option works. So there's a million ways to lose weight. But more than likely, you're going to want to be able to maintain your results once you get them. So this person, if 110 pounds to lose, and they lose the 110 pounds, they don't want to go back to over 110 pounds overweight. So whatever you end up doing, you have to make it where it gets you from A to B, it's healthy, and it's sustainable, and makes you happy. That's what this comes down to. This is the problem a lot of dieters have. They think it's like, oh, I want to lose 40 pounds. And as soon as they lose 40 or 110 or whatever it is, this switch goes off in their brain like, okay, I'm done. It was for that period of time. then they wonder why they gain all their weight back. You have to understand, like, it's a cheesy saying, the whole like, oh, it's not, it's a lifestyle. It is a lifestyle, because it's like if I mow my grass once, it looks cool, but then it comes back again, right? Because I have to maintain that. So if you're wanting to maintain your success, people act like they lose the weight, then they're like, man, I had to keep up with all that shit if I wanted it to stay off. Like, yeah. Imagine if you go to work, make your paycheck, then don't go back to work, then you're surprised when your employer doesn't send you another check. You've got to keep hammering at this stuff, guys. You have to keep compound pounding. You have to keep hammering away at this stuff to keep the goal that you have. So I don't care how much weight you have to lose, only do it in ways that are sustainable, that make you happy, that you can keep doing for the next 10 years. So for most people, no, I wouldn't do keto. I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's super smart. And I don't think it's sustainable to cut out an entire macronutrient category for anybody, let alone if someone has a lot of weight to lose. Because again, like with keto, it's not the carbs that are the problem. It's overeating and under moving as the problem. So I don't care whether you have 10 pounds to lose or 110 pounds, like the person that asked that question. Don't be so quick to just jump on a trendy diet because you have a lot of weight to lose, or you want to do it fast or whatever, because that's not ever going to end up right. Have a long game thinking with this, because how you maintain your success is going to look exactly like how you lost it. Items to buy for at-home workouts. I have dumbbells, but would like more. That's a really good question. And what I'll do is I'll actually throw some of my favorite stuff in like an Amazon shopping list and throw it in the description below, okay? So here's the thing with at-home workouts. You can literally spend as much or as little as you want on home gym equipment. I mean, literally, you can pimp out your whole gym and be thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in, or you can be under $100 in. So what I'll put a little bit of everything in that shopping list below, depending on how invasive you want to go, because they make stuff. They make like foldable squat racks that fold up against your the wall in your garage, for instance. Or you can get, you know, a whole plethora of dumbbells, or you can get just like resistance bands. There's all sorts of stuff. So I'm going to say this, at the bare minimum, I would get a set of resistance bands, just like the normal ones with handles and stuff. Because what's going to happen is you've got all your body weight stuff you can do right now. You can do push-ups, you can do squats, you can do lunges, that stuff. But resistance bands add a whole nother category of pulling. You can do pulling exercises, you can do all sorts of stuff like that. You can add resistance to your push-ups, to your squats, to your lunges. But now you got, you know, you can throw the bands over a door, you can throw it under a door, you can, you know, do pull-aparts, you can do all sorts of stuff. The next thing I would do is add a pull-up bar. They make pull-up bars that just hook onto the trim on your door. I would add one of those, because now if you can add pull-ups in, but now you can anchor your band to something. And that just multiplied your home exercises by like 50. You know, added a whole bunch. You can get into dumbbells. They make sets of adjustable dumbbells that don't take up a lot of space, or you can go get an actual dumbbell rack with a lot of stuff to look at. But then if you want, you can add things like actual pieces of equipment, like those big at-home, you know, you see them at hotels a lot, like all-in-one gym equipment thing. But then right now, just that stuff, you're getting into high hundreds and low thousands and stuff. But another one, I like TRX straps. That's the one a lot of my coaching clients will have, is TRX straps, because you can do a lot of body weight stuff and suspension stuff, and you can throw them over a door and you're good to go. I'm trying to think what else. Exercise balls, med balls are always good. I don't know, there's a lot of little miscellaneous stuff like that that'll help. I'll think about this a little bit more, and in the description, I'll put like an Amazon shop of all the different stuff you can use for at home. All right, fam, thank you so much for tuning into the channel today. If you haven't already, be sure and subscribe and put the little bell thing down below, because that way you can at least be notified next time my next video. So otherwise, thank you so much for tuning in. I love you. Talk soon.